There will be a brightness to this day, even if there be but cloud and rain outdoors.
The brightness of this day comes from within, from this gladly gathered company.
There will be color and fragrance to this day, even if there be but gray and chill outdoors.
The color and fragrance come from within, from the flowering of our spirits in this place.
There will be praise and laughter to this day, even if there be but difficulty elsewhere in the world.
The praise and laughter come from within, from our hearts leap within us as we gather together to worship.
Today let there be brightness.
Today let there be color and fragrance.
Today let there be praise and laughter.
Spirit of the flowers blooming, be with us.
Flowers of the Spirit blooming, be with us.
I hear a bird chirping up in the sky. I'd like to be free like that, spread my wings so high. I see the river flowing, water running by. I'd like to be that river, see what I might find. I feel the wind blowing, slowly changing time. I'd like to be the wind that swirl and shape the sky. I smell the flowers blooming, opening for spring. I'd like to be those flowers open to everything. I feel the seasons change, the leaves, the snow, and the sun. I'd like to be those seasons made up and undone. I taste the living earth, the seeds that grow within. I'd like to be that earth, a home where life begins. I see the moon arising, reaching into night. I'd like to be that moon, a knowing, glowing light. I know the silence as the world begins to wake. I'd like to be that silence as the morning breaks. I hear hear a bird chirping up in the sky. I like to be free like that, spread my wings so high. I see the river flowing, water running by. I like to be that river, see what I might find. I feel the wind blowing, slowly changing time. I like to be that wind that swirl and shake the sky. I smell the flowers blooming, opening for spring. I'd like to be those flowers open to everything. I'd like to be those flowers open to everything.
Wow, that was beautiful. What a great start. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome to Minnesota Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Carla Reese, and I am the outgoing secretary on the Board of Trustees. Also leading today's service are Maria Bavier and Reverend Laura. We have Richard Duffin on tech. Nicole Collins is directing the music. Clark Lewis is on the piano. Tom Ellinger and Kai Hummer are also sharing their wonderful musical gifts, as is the MBU UF choir today. It's just a plethora of riches. We are so glad that you have joined us today for our beloved Flower Communion service. We especially welcome anyone here visiting for the first time. We invite you to fill out our visitor form and take a green welcome home packet with you. They are downstairs and the tables by the entryway. Both can be, also folks online can find the visitor form in the chat or comment sections. Following the service today, we will have our annual picnic in the Lakeview Room at Highland Park in Bloomington. Now we all knew ahead of time and we brought food. Don't worry if you're visiting, please come join us anyway. It is so much fun. The weather is beautiful. The kids can play. It'll be great. We'd love to see everyone there to celebrate our community and fellowship and one another.
Good morning. Will you please join me in reciting the words for our chalice lighting? I'll have you read the bold today. Flowers chant their wordless songs of color and scent. Delighting like a joyful choir at dawn. I breathe in with my whole body, feeling how it is we grow. Quietly rising together among spring's green and dew. Our opening hymn this morning is I Saw the Wood in Summer. That's number 328 in the gray hymnal, or the words will be up on the screen.
Tender and buds
Each week, we set aside a few moments to lift up the joys and sorrows that are among us. If you're here and you have something to share, you can raise your hand and one of the ushers will bring a microphone around to you. If you're on Zoom, you can write it in the chat and we'll share it here. And if you're on YouTube, I want to invite you to share too. You can share in the comments with one another. Okay, well, you're all thinking about it. I wanted to let you know that yesterday we went to upgrade our phones, and while I was doing research online, I found out that I can get a great 55+ discount. And this is the first 55+ discount that I've embraced. And I'm saving like $40 a month, so that's a joy for me.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Coate. My husband, Paul, is in New York City right now with a group of high school theater students. So from afar, we are celebrating today our 23rd wedding anniversary.
Hi, I'm Carla Reese again. I have an enormous joy that the school year is over. My kids rocked it. They were amazing. They had a freshman who is doing amazing in high school, and he's scowling at me right now, and a 7th grader who did all the things in 7th grade and did amazing. And Brian is settling into his new job and doing well. And I had another fantastic year. I can't believe I get paid to do what I do, folks. Like, it's just unbelievable. So I'm very grateful for that. And really quickly also, I've been on the board for 4 years. I'm going off the board at the end of this month. And I just want to thank everyone who supported me throughout these 4 years and who, I mean, it's been such a joyous opportunity to serve this community, and I am so grateful I had the chance to do that. So thank you all.
As a follow-up to last week's sharing, Gracie did fare well enough to make it to state in 2 events, so she'll be running in the 3200, which she placed second in to qualify, and also qualified by time. And she made it in the 4x800, and they placed first in that. So it's been this will be her first foray. I was wrong when I said last week. Her first time doing it for track and field. So very exciting. She'll take all the well wishes and prayers and energy and whatever you want to call it next Friday and Saturday. And then as a second part, I should mention, because nobody ever hears about my son, that happily, not because I don't love him as much, happily he's home for the summer after finishing up his first year of college successfully, and that's been a joy to have him back half the time anyway. So thanks. Yeah.
Matthew Schneider. I have some family actually come to town that I don't see very often, and it was great seeing them all again. They were in town for basically a celebration of life with someone that did get along with my core family. So we basically have been on the fringes of that side, and it was just great to talk to them, to feel welcomed by them, even though there are still family members that would not attend.
Hi, I'm Alicia Williams. I also work at a school, and we have 4 days left. Our school got a $10,000 grant for our library, and so I have spent the month of May going crazy on bookstores, and it's been so much fun. I'm so grateful that I live in a state where I don't have to worry about what I buy. I have a whole banned bookshelf planned. I have an expanded young adult section, and it's just been my dream. Piled books are starting to arrive from Amazon every day, and I'll be spending the summer putting them all into the system, but that's just been wonderful.
I'm Alexander Barrett. I have a small business and I sell queer stationery, design and sell. We are doing our first Pride event on Saturday at Golden Valley Pride, and I'll be selling in person there, and I'm really, really excited.
Oh, up here.
This Friday, the Alzheimer's Choir is singing, and my whole family's coming from Chicago.
Nikita Savant online says that it's a joy that her son just ended his junior year and they have a wonderful summer planned.
On Friday, I graduated high school.
Yes. Did we have another graduation too? Yeah?
I was just waiting till people weren't raising their hands. So, our son Anders graduated on Wednesday, and I'd also just like appreciate your thoughts and good vibes being sent my way, because after his graduation, David Anders and I are going to Arizona. My parents are moving from an independent apartment to an assisted living apartment, and I think it will go very well, but that's always a stressful time, so I would appreciate any good thoughts you can send our way. And the school year just ended for me too, so.
Hi everyone, this is Laura. So it's actually been about a year since I've come, because I think I happened to come at the flower service and annual picnic for the first time last year. I was a little disappointed in the summer because there were like 10 of us in the congregation most of the time, and I seem to be the youngest, but I don't feel that way anymore. We've got a lot of new members, a lot of young families. I like seeing all the children and everything, so it's been a great year. Thank you. And my first year in Minnesota.
Yes. Were there any others online that came in while I wasn't looking? Oh, Myra says her nephew Connor graduated on Friday, and today they're celebrating her sister's birthday. So happy birthday, and congrats to all the grads. I know that we have some adjacent people to the congregation that graduated as well, that former members, and of course, I'm sure you all know people who are graduating last week or this week. So good luck to all of those young folks as they set off for a new chapter in their lives. So we hold these joys and sorrows. Also, happy Pride Month. Just want to throw that out there. It's Pride Month. And we hold all these joys and sorrows in our hearts. We lift them up as well, the ones that are silent, and will you please join in our song response? It's a new month, and it's also the end of the program year. We're celebrating that today, but it's the start of summer, and that means we have just one sharing partner for the whole summer. As we know, our attendance is a little bit lower in the summer. Hopefully it's not going to be that low. You guys know we have programming all summer, right? We also have children's programming this year, so come for that, bring your kids. They'll have fun activities every Sunday to do. So please come and check it out and support the lay members who are offering services. It takes a little bit of bravery to come up here when you haven't done it before and speak from your heart about things that are important to you. And if you're a musician and you'd like to play an instrument at all during the summer, please let me know. We have lots of openings for that. But our summer sharing partner for the whole summer is Veep. We share half of our offering each and every week with our sharing partner. Veep is an amazing organization. It's over off Lindale. They're a basic needs kind of operation. Huge food shelf, maybe the largest in the state. Is that true, Lee? You work there. It's the largest.
Biggest one in Hennepin County for sure.
The biggest one in Hennepin County, possibly the biggest one in the state. Large operation. In addition to food, they also provide other basic needs and social workers to help with housing and fuel and heating and all kinds of things. It's an amazing operation, and we're glad that they're our sharing partner in the summer. Will the ushers please come forward to take the offering?
Enter the wild with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take in root and thrive and grow. And even as you travel far from heather, crag, and river, may you, like the little fisher, set the stream light with glitter. May you enter now as otter, without falter, into water. Look to the sky with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take in root and thrive and grow. And even as you journey on, past dying stars exploding, like the gilded one in flight, leave your little gifts of light. And in the dead of night, my darling, find the gleaming eye you're starting, like the little aviator. Sing your heart to all the dark matter. Walk through the world with care, my love, and sing the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you stumble through mire sands eroding, let the fern unfurl your grieving. Let the heron still your breathing. Let the silky swim you deeper. Oh, my little silver speaker, even as the hour crows flicker, beat the singer and the speaker, hand in city and in forest, let the larks become your chorus. And when every hope is gone, let the raven call you home.
I have a story about flower communion, and it's adapted from a story by Janine Gossmeyer in her book, A Lamp in Every Corner, RUU Storybook. In the city of Prague, in the land of Czechoslovakia, in the year 1923, 101 years ago, a new church was being started. It was the first Unitarian church in Czechoslovakia, but the building did not look much like a church. It had no bells, no spires, no stained glass windows. It had no piano to make beautiful music, no carvings of wood or statues of stone. It had no candles, no chalices. It had no flowers. The church did have some things. It had 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. It had a door and a few windows. It had some wooden chairs, but that was all. Plain and simple. Except the church also had people who came to it every Sunday. It had a minister, and his name was Norbert Chopik. He'd been the minister at the Plain and Simple Church for 2 years. Every Sunday, Reverend Chopik went to church, and he spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quietly and still in those hard wooden chairs. When he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit amongst themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food. Not even coffee or donuts. Springtime came to the city of Prague, and Norbert Chopik went out for a stroll. The rains had come, the birds were singing, and flowers were blooming all over the land. The world was beautiful. An idea came to him, simple and plain as day. The next Sunday, he asked all the people in the church to bring a flower or a budding branch, even a twig. Each person was to bring one. What kind, they asked. What color? What size? You choose, he said. Each of you choose what you like. And so on the next Sunday, which was the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors, sizes, kinds. There were yellow daisies, red roses. There were white lilies, blue asters, dark-eyed pansies, and light green leaves. Pink and purple, orange and gold. There were all those colors and more. Flowers filled all the vases, and the church wasn't so plain and simple anymore.
I want to invite, Maria and Carla are going back to bring the flowers up, maybe the ushers or a couple other hands could bring the flowers up and place them on the table. And then it looked something like this. All different kinds of flowers, some bought, some found, some grown. And that was the first flower communion in 1923. Yeah, it smells good too. I was just out there. And then Reverend Chappick offered this prayer. In the name of Providence, which implants the seed, the future, and the flower and the tree, and in the hearts of all the longing to be beloved. In the same name of the highest, in whom we move and who makes the mother and father, the sibling and neighbor what they are. In the name of sages and all those brave souls who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice, let us renew our resolution. Sincerely to be the comrades regardless of any kind of bar which estranges us from one another. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one spirit, the spirit of love, unites us, and may we endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Amen. Now, the church looked beautiful with all the flowers that everyone had brought, but it was not just that purpose for bringing them to make things beautiful. The flowers given were not, in fact, to be gifts to the church at all, but rather gifts to the congregation, to each and every person gathered. And so the people were invited to come forward to receive a flower, to choose a different flower than the one that they brought in, to take it with them as a symbol of the beautiful community that they had created together. And so we're going to invite you all to do this in an orderly fashion. And here's how I think that might work. I'm going to have the folks in the back come up first. This is going to be the coming up side, and that's going to be the going back side. People in the back, I'm talking to you in the lobby. See, you think you're forgotten back there, but I see you.
I see you.
And then what we'll do is this side, I want you to go down and out and come up this way. Can you do that?
Do we take the whole thing?
No, you just take one. Just choose one flower or one group of flowers. Some of them have multiple flowers on a stem. you haven't come up, come on up. Richard? Let's not forget you. I hope that you folks watching online have something beautiful that you can have in front of you. Flower or a plant, or even if you're near a window. To be a flower is a profound responsibility. That's what Emily Dickinson wrote. Have you ever thought of it that way? That being a flower is a profound responsibility. Just look at the flower that you hold in your hands and contemplate the existence of them in our lives. I'm going to share a little bit of the history and purpose of flowers as told by author Maria Popova. 200 million years ago, long before we walked the earth, it was a world of cold-blooded creatures and dull colors, a kind of terrestrial sea of brown and green. There were plants, but their reproduction was a game of chance. They released their pollen into the wind, into the water, against the staggering improbability that it might reach another member of their species. No algorithm, no swipe, left or right, just chance. But then, in the Cretaceous period, flowers appeared and carpeted the world with astonishing rapidness, because, in some poetic sense, they invented love. Once there were flowers, there was fruit, that transcendent alchemy of sunlight into sugar. Once there were fruit, plants could enlist the helps of animals in kind of a trade, sweetness for a lift to a mate somewhere else. Animals savored the sugars in the fruit, converted them to energy and proteins, and a new world of warm-blooded animals came alive. So without flowers, there would be no us. There would also be no poetry, no science, no music. Life as we know it would not exist without the flowers. Now, as some of you may have just finished up No Mow May, right? We know how important even the smallest and earliest of blooms are for pollinators on whom we are all dependent. Right? We literally need flowers to sustain us in the physical sense as they are related to that greater web of which we are all a part. But they mean so much more to us too, don't they? For they often say things that words cannot fully express. They're a symbol of love, grief, gratitude, healing, cheer, sympathy, friendship, hope, and the intrinsic value of life itself. Now, that first flower communion in 1923 took place in what's called the interwar period. That's the period between World War I and World War II, which was, I don't know if I'd call it a peaceful time for Central Europe, but it was a time when there wasn't an all-out war going on. Still a time of tension. Now, by 1938, the Nazis had come to occupy Czechoslovakia. Reverend Maya Chapik, who's Reverend Norbert's wife, had come to the United States around that time to help raise money and gain war relief support from the Unitarians here to help in the war efforts. By the way, that's where the chalice comes from. Different story, different day, but it's all about spies and getting people out of Nazi-occupied territories. She brought the flower communion back to the States, and soon it became spreading in popularity and became a thing at all the Unitarian churches here. Norbert Chapik stayed behind in Czechoslovakia to help his people, to nurture their spirits with his message, and to engage in the dangerous work of fighting for freedom. In 1941, the Nazis arrested him for treason, and he was sent to Dresden prison, and then he was sent to the concentration camp at Dachau. Chapik kept his spirit strong while he was there by sharing his poetry and music. He has a couple of hymns in our hymnal as well, and sharing his message with other prisoners. Now, it's said that he even shared a flower communion service with the others who were imprisoned. Now, of course, there were not many flowers to be found in Dachau, except for maybe some clover blossoms or dandelions that might have been present along the fence lines. The camp itself was pretty barren, rocks and gravel, concrete buildings. So they gathered whatever symbols of beauty and life they could find around them: a blade of grass, a clump of weeds, a bird feather, a small found piece of torn red fabric. And they brought these things together as gifts of hope to one another, as symbols of love to one another, even in the bleakest of times. In 1942, Reverend Chapik was killed by the Nazis in the gas chambers. But his spirit lives on in his legacy, in those hymns that he wrote, in the modern Unitarianism he established in Czechoslovakia. We did have some really early roots in the Reformation, pre-Reformation actually, there as well, that had died out. And it lives on in this flower communion service that's now celebrated annually at every UU congregation across the world. It's become an anchor of a UU tradition. I mean, it's right there alongside water communion, which happens in September, and the ritual lighting of our chalice every week as one of the most prominent symbols of our faith. Hope springs eternal. Symbols of beauty and hope exist even in the hardest of places and in the hardest of times, and they certainly exist in our day-to-day lives. Even when we forget to notice, beauty is still there to be seen and shared. Last week was Question Box Sunday, and somebody asked, what coping mechanisms will we need for the coming months before, during, and after the election? Right? We know what's at stake. Democracy is under threat. White nationalism and fascism are on the rise. LGBTQ lives are at risk. Brown and black lives are at risk. Women's choices are at risk. Meanwhile, there's a horrific humanitarian crisis on our southern border. Meanwhile, our bombs and military aid are being used to commit genocide in Gaza. And of course, don't forget there's a climate crisis. The world is in peril. Just here to remind you of those things. Now, the weight of this is enormous, right? The weight of it on the election cycle is enormous, and it's complicated, and it's no wonder that anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and addiction are on the rise. So how do we cope? What can we hold on to? Look to your hands. Look at the flower you hold. Take a moment to marvel at its beauty, its fragility, its softness. Take in its fragrance. This is your coping mechanism. The millions of symbols of beauty that are also given every day that can be found in the flowers, as well as the magic crunch of the snow beneath your feet, that can be found in the relief of a cool breeze, a child's smile, a dog's sigh, that can be found when a stranger holds the door for you, or a neighbor shovels your sidewalk for you, that can be found in this community that is made beautiful by you and for you. The gift of flower communion is that it reminds us to take stock of the beauty that this life gives us, and reminds us to create and share beauty and love wherever we can. It will not take away the weight of the world. We still have to do that ourselves. But it is a stark reminder of the world that we want, a world where our hands are always offering love, gratitude, healing, sympathy, friendship, hope, and the intrinsic value of life itself to one another. Blessed be. Amen. Happy Flower Communion. Our closing hymn today is De Coloris. People are excited about that. Some people are excited about that. That's number 305 in the gray hymnal.
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice.
We come from different places. You and I. On different paths we journey. You and let me walk beside you for a while. Let me listen.
that was a beautiful hymn to end the service. That was beautiful for Pride Month, too. Thank you so much. And I just want to remind you all, the choir is on hiatus now until mid-August, and Lark and Nicole are also off for the summer. But if you're interested in singing with the choir next year, you should contact Nicole and let her know. They're always looking for new members. And can we just give a big hand to Nicole and Lark and the choir? Yes. I mean, we love you guys. And we'll miss you over the summer, but we'll be glad when you're back. Again, if you're visiting us today and you want to come to our annual picnic, please do. It's a great way. I know some of you that have come today are looking for community. This is a great way to get to know some of our folks and find out who we are and what we're about. I want to leave you with these words today, this blessing. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last over the snows, over the centuries, over the heavy feet of cattle and of soldiers, treading down the fragile places of the earth. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last over the tangled branches, over the withered stem, over the tearing thorns of roses and barbed wire. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last even over the hand that gathers it, cuts it off from life, from its roots, from its memory, from the taste of iron and tears in the soil. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last over the closed rooms that are not its home, over efforts to domesticate its wild truth, over the vain words of priests and poets. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last over us, over pasts and futures, over words and silences, over deaths and lives, placing them all in their proper place, restoring to all their joyful smallness. Blessed be the flower that triumphs at last. Amen. Amen.